So again, here's another idea for UV resin jewellery for beginners. We have done nail art stickers. We've done a glitter one as well that isn't on my list. We've done an abalone shell one. We're about to do a tiny beach scene with metal components. That's today's project. Now, I'll put you a link at the end of this video and down in the video description to the whole playlist with all this lot on, because this beginner series of jewellery making videos will grow as the weeks go by. So do subscribe because you'll be able to see each one when it comes out. Now, here is our little heart mould again. And as I said, this time we are going to be using metal bits. We are also going to be using colours. First of all, this is the colour we're going to be using. It's called Offshore Wave. It's from Create and Bloom. As you can see, it's a beautiful sparkly blue pigment paste. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, we'll need to be careful how much of that we put in with our ultraviolet curing resin because we don't want to stop it from curing, do we? Now, the little metal pieces we're going to be using are these. And we've got little mermaids, we've got starfish, we've got shells, anchors, there's all sorts in there. Seahorses. We decide which we're going to use because obviously this is really quite small. And I will be using the gold ones because I think it will show quite nicely against the rest of the piece. What we're going to want to do is get what will be the sea and then maybe like a sea foam area and then clear for the sky. So to keep those separate, first thing I want to do is put clear in, which will be the sky. So I'm just going to put a bit of our clear ultraviolet curing resin in the top. That's resin one that I am using. I'm holding it up so it tips to the top of the mould, and then we're going to cure it in position. It doesn't need to be 100% cured, it just needs to be so it doesn't keep wandering off. So we're just going to firm it up a bit like that, and that's probably enough. Just a few seconds. This cheap little torch is incredibly powerful, so that will probably be enough. Next thing we're going to want to do is get our sea and our foam and everything in. But first of all, we're going to need to get our little mermaidy bits in. So the next thing is to get a clear layer all the way over. Now you see at this end we've got a clear layer nearly up to the top, but this end, the bottom bit, we only want a little thin layer. So I'll probably take it up over the top of that bit there, just to even it all up a little bit. There we go. That doesn't have to be full coverage. I'm just getting a bit of a coating in there, but it will be deeper at this end. That's the idea. We're going to cure that, or at least partially cure it. And then the next thing, of course, we'll be putting in our little gold pieces. There we go. That should have firmed up and made it sticky. So these are nail art bits and bobs. And what have we got here? Is that a dolphin? No, it's a mermaid. Let's have a little mermaid, shall we? Just because I don't think I've ever used a mermaid in anything ever before. But she's a bit big, isn't she? That might be why. No, anchor. So in the bottom, we're going to go for a little tiny starfish. And that's going to want to be quite near to the bottom. And I think that's now upside down. I need to turn him over. God, these are fiddly. You're definitely going to want your tweezers for this, folks. There we are. So there's our starfish. And let's have a little shell. I'm going to put quite a few bits in. I know. I think the seahorse is a bit smaller than the... Is the seahorse smaller than the mermaid? Don't know as it is, actually. I just think I like the seahorse better. Let's go for the seahorse. Then we've got the starfish. Should we have the anchor as well? Be a bit much, isn't it? But hey. So what we're going to do is, again, a little drop of the resin. Let that self-level. Should just hold them all in place. Still trying to keep it so that the resin is deeper at this end, of course. There we are. So let's cure that off. Right, next thing is a little bit of coral sand, and I've gone for coral sand because it tends to stay a little bit whiter than regular beach sand. And I just want a little bit of this at the very bottom. So there's our seabed. Next, we're going to want a little bit of colour mixed, and I'm going to use these little measuring pots that came in a happy mail. Thank you so much, April from Dragons in Dresses Craft Sortium. Her happy mails are always just the best. The last lot she sent me had got gin in it. This time it was all fabulously useful stuff and a really funky t-shirt. Now, I'm only going to need tiniest bit of colour, because this colour pigment is very heavily pigmented. So that's why I've gone for a clear pot, so that I can see just how pigmented that is. I might want just a little bit more, but of course you've got to be careful. If you put too much in, it won't cure because the light won't get through it. But what we're going to do is put that across the middle. So, isn't that a gorgeous colour? Then we're having clear at the bottom because of the sand, and then at the top, and I might as well use the other side of this pot for this, I'm going to have some Super Sparkle White, again just a tiny bit, to create like a sparkly sea foam effect. And this is why I wanted it deeper at the top, so that this would kind of run down. And I think I'm going to need a bit more than that actually. Let's get another pot out. Now I'm going to leave that for a second because white tends to sink, which I'm hoping it will. I'll put a little bit of white behind the sand as well. Now that is well and truly filled. So I'm hoping that that will all mix and blend and all that lovely stuff. And I'm going to put my big UV lamp on it, so because that's quite powerful, while I clean my pots out. Right, let's see what we've got then. You can see I've got a bit of overspot to sort out, and there's a couple of little bumps on the back, but we can soon deal with those. Isn't that pretty? You can barely see the sand at the bottom, but I definitely got the swirliness, and it's got a lovely 3D-ness to it. So let's get rid of that little bit on the back that I wasn't too impressed with the ever-trusty nail file. And I'm going to dome the back off and the front, and there's our finished piece. Shall we make another one is the question. Should we go for it? I think I want to. I'm going to try and do it an even easier way, for in case you haven't got all these beautiful pigments and coral sand and things like that. So let me have a little clean up and we'll do a second one. But let's get this little fella finished first. So don't forget, this is actually part of a series of videos, especially for beginners having a go at jewellery for the first time with ultraviolet curing resin. So I will put you a link for the full playlist, which will continue to grow, of course, over the coming weeks. And I'll put that link for you down in the video description. So please do take a look. And if you subscribe as well, then of course it will let you know when I've got another video on this topic and anything else to do with resin coming out. So the buttons for everything are down below, as are all the links and all the information you're going to need. Now, there's the back domed. Nice finish, isn't it? It's rather pretty in itself, so we definitely won't be putting black on there. But I am going to dome the front as well. And the reason for that is, if you put an extra clear layer on the front, even though we've got a clear layer in the front anyway, because we put that into the mould first, if you remember, if you put another layer on the front, it magnifies. Now, what you can do as well is actually, if you wanted to, you could actually dip these in your ultraviolet curing resin, then you'll get it all the way around and all around the sides as well. But I find that a little bit fiddlier, and it's up to you whether you think you need to do that or not. Some pieces definitely benefit from it, others might not be so necessary. And there we go. I hope you like that. I think it's gorgeous. So of course we need to drill our hole, make it into a little pendant. But should we have a go and see if we can do it a really cheaty, easy way without worrying about the depths and things? That might have worked without worrying about the deeper at one end thing, but I don't know. Anyway, let's get our layer of clear in, same principle. And I'm going to use acrylic markers for this one, because I've got this amazing set of new markers from Artix. By the way, the Let's Resin ones work on resin, because obviously that's what they're intended for, really well as well. I just happen to have a lovely new set of Artix ones, which is a massive colour range that I'm playing with. Right, so again, we're going to put our pieces in. This time I am going to go for the mermaid. Oops, here she comes. Oops, need to turn her over. And there she is. And let's just have a little seashell, shall we? Let's have one of these. Maybe a starfish. Of course, you can use real shells and real dried starfish and things like that. Depends how you feel about the fact that they were once living creatures. It's kind of up to you to work out. So we're going in again with another thin layer of clear. She's quite chunky actually. I'm wishing I'd put her in the layer underneath. There we go. Got her pretty much in the position I want her. So let's cure. Right, and here comes the cheaty bit. We've got these marker pens. Now my thought was, can we do beach with these? I have really got this a bit overfilled now. Not the beach, but the seabed. See what I mean? So, I need to let that dry a bit. But I think this will probably blend anyway. So this is go. So she can be sticking her head out, can't she? There we go. And then let's go for the white at the top, which may blend with the blue. I don't know. We'll see. It is a bit, but that's okay. Like a sea foam blending into the sky. That's okay. And we don't know really what it's doing on the other side, do we? It might be doing something different. Who knows? But we're going to let that fully dry now. And then I'm just going to put clear on the back of this one. Because obviously if I put blue on the back of that, that's going to... if I put black on the back of that, it's going to fade it all in, isn't it? Sneaky peek at the other side. Right, that's going to take a while to cure, so I'll see you in a bit. Right, looks like this is pretty much dried. And I've dispensed with my gloves. It's so hot here in the UK. To be honest, wearing gloves is giving me more trouble than not wearing gloves would. So don't do what I do, do like I say, do wear your gloves. You might not be as lucky as me with not being allergic to any of these resin products, particularly if you're using cheaper, the budget types of resin from the likes of Temu and whatever. The quality ones don't tend to be as problematic anyway, like the ones I'm using, but hey, right, there we are. Let's get that cured. Okay, and as always, we're turning it over. If you have your hands under a UV lamp a lot, by the way, it's probably worth wearing your gloves just from that point of view. I don't have mine under there very much, really. I don't do as much UV work nowadays, but it is sensible because, ultraviolet light. It is what it is. So there we go. It's had a quick zap from both sides. Let's have a look. You know what? That's worked, and that's just with acrylic marker pens. Again, little bits of finishing touches. As you can see, there's a little bit of sanding around the edges to do. Just a little bit, like so. Just to take off and neaten. So if you haven't got acrylic marker pens, but you've got acrylic paints, of course, you could do the same thing. Not a problem. Isn't that adorable? So I'm happy with the back anyway. Let's just put that usual domed layer on the front just to give it that little bit of a finish and magnification and shine. Mould shiny anyway because it's a Beck Makes one, but I do like a slight doming on the front of my pieces. And there's a couple of little bubbles in it I've noticed, but that's okay. It's the sea. We like bubbles, don't we? And so there we go. 2 easy ways to do little miniature sea scenes with your ultraviolet curing resin. I'll be putting the link for the rest of the videos in this series, which will be a growing playlist, up on the corner of your screen here for you. And also the link will be down in the video description. Hope you're finding these helpful, this series. If so, and if there's anything in particular you want me to show you how to do, just shout up. Quite happy to keep growing this playlist for you. See you for the next one.